Well, welcome to our talk on pandemic fatigue and the role of hope. My name is Tom, and I'm a chaplain with Untitled Hospice, and it's a pleasure to be with you today. To get going, I thought we'd start with a little joke, just to set the table. A charitable man decided to visit a sick ward at a hospital to cheer up the patients. He took along a keyboard and played some humorous songs and told some jokes at many a bedside. After finishing his final performance for an elderly lady, he said, "I hope you get better." And the elderly lady smiled vaguely at the performer and replied, "I hope you do too." And that's kind of the situation that we're all in. We hope that things are going to get better. And if the earth and the world could talk back, looking at our politics, our social upheaval, our environmental concerns, it might be saying to humanity, I hope you get better too. And that's what this is all about, getting better together. So, to begin, after the joke, I want to go with a prayer. It's called the welcoming prayer. And wherever you are right now, doing this virtual lunch and learn, I invite you to just sit upright, put your feet firmly on the ground, and just relax. Because there's nowhere to be for the next 20-25 minutes except here, right now. And just let the prayer sink in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I welcome everything that comes to me today because I know it's for my healing. I welcome all thoughts, feelings, emotions, persons, situations, and conditions. I let go of my desire for power and control. I let go of my desire for affection, esteem, approval, and pleasure. I let go of my desire for survival and security. I let go of my desire to change any situation, condition, person, or myself. I open to the love and presence of God and God's action within. Amen. That was called the Welcoming Prayer by Father Thomas Keating, and I think it is beautiful. And it's also so true, because so much of hope is about letting go of how we think things should be. And so much for rainbows and butterflies, but we want to get down to business, right? So let's start by defining the terms. Pandemic fatigue and the role of hope. What is a pandemic? Well, you're in one. And a pandemic comes from the Greek pan, which means all, and demos, which means people. It's an epidemic that spreads across the whole entire world. And the worst pandemic that we've had was in 1918 and 1919, the influenza pandemic, where 20 to 40 million people lost their lives. So what is fatigue? The origin of the word fatigue comes from the 1660s in English. It comes from a French word, which means to tire out or to exhaust. And so fatigue is a term used to describe the overall feeling of tiredness and lack of energy. It's not the same as being drowsy or sleepy. When you're fatigued, you have no motivation and no energy. Now, you may be sleepy because of the fatigue, but it's not the same thing. And so there are lots of causes for fatigue, but they can be generally divided into three categories. Lifestyle factors, 1. Physical health conditions, 2. And mental health issues. And COVID hits all three. So what is pandemic fatigue? Pandemic fatigue is the state of being worn out by all the precautions, all the restrictions, all the health issues, mental issues, lifestyle issues related to the pandemic. And oftentimes, because of this fatigue, we ease up and we abandon precautions that are for our benefit. We put ourselves at risk and others. And then we also experience boredom and depression and anxiety, fear. Now, as humans, some folks have said that we struggle with fear around 5 primary categories: death, illness, losing our mind, losing our livelihood, and humiliation or public speaking. And so going through this pandemic right now, you can see how COVID hits those 5 primal fears that we have as humans. The fear of death. We've got a daily death toll where we see the casualties from this. The fear of illness. What would happen if I got sick from COVID? Losing our mind. We may feel like that because of the isolation. Losing our livelihood. There are economic worries. Public speaking, not so much unless you're the one giving this talk. So that leaves us feeling half full. We're just going through life half full. And if you take that word half, H-A-L-F, you have hopeless, anxious, lonely, and fearful. And when I'm hopeless, anxious, lonely, and fearful, I feel like I'm going through life just half full. And that is not a good thing. You may be feeling a fog, a mental fog. Your thoughts could be spiraling out of control. You might be eating more. You might be eating less. You might be withdrawing. You might be drinking more. You might be snapping at people. You might be impatient. Either way, something's askew. And a lot of that can be attributed to pandemic fatigue, which leads you to say, when other people say, hey, how are you doing? And through everything, you say, I'm doing fine. And as a chaplain, when someone says I'm doing fine, to me that means feelings inside not expressed. Fine. F-I-N-E. So there are all kinds of ways to cope with pandemic fatigue. You can take care of yourself physically, limit your news intake, connect with others, stress-lowering techniques, meditation, positive self-talk, accept your feelings. But all those are coping mechanisms. And today I want to talk about hope. Because hope is what drives everything. It's a passion for the possible, as Soren Kierkegaard says. It's 2 things. It's desire and expectation linked together. And so you've got a part of hope that's a noun, and you've got a part of hope that's a verb. It's the desire for something and the expectation of receiving it. It's an emotional state that promotes the belief in a positive outcome, that we are moving through it. We are getting through it. And when we see people who are hopeful, it lifts our spirits, because just as COVID is contagious, hope is contagious too. And when I'm around folks who are exuding positive energy, who are optimistic, who are realistic at the same time, who are displaying acts of kindness, love, and charity, and are working through it, it lifts my spirit. So now there's an important distinction with hope. As I said, you have hope as the desire for something and the expectation of receiving it. The important distinction is between wishful thinking and confident expectation. Wishful thinking is how a lot of us think of hope. Wishful thinking, you could think of wishful thinking as hopes, plural. I hope the Browns win the Super Bowl. I hope the supermarket has my favorite brand of hummus. I hope my cancer does not come back. I hope my retirement account holds up. I hope my kids are safe. I hope this vaccination works. I hope I don't get corona. I hope that if I do, it won't be bad. And I hope that if it is bad, I won't die. and I hope that if I do die, I won't die alone. These are all hopes, plural. But there is a hope, singular, that does not run on what happens. And that's the hope, singular, which is a confident expectation that everything else is founded on. A confident expectation, you take the word confident, you get con fide. And what does that mean? It means with faith. There is a aspect of us being connected to something larger than ourselves, where life is not about me, but I'm about life, where the confide, where the faith in the mysterious beauty, truth, and goodness that undergirds all of reality, that's what hope is built on. And so that takes hope into a spiritual dimension, which is why it's so important for us to take care of ourselves spiritually as we go through this. If we take hope's wishful thinking in terms of preferences, reality is just going to smash through a lot of it. When we look at reality, we have 5 big categories of reality. 5 big truths. The truth of impermanence, nothing lasts. The truth of loss. We all lose things and people. The truth of unfulfilled dreams. The truth of broken relationships. And the truth of eventual physical and cognitive diminishment. Our hope has to rest in something much deeper than the realities that we're going to face in this lifetime, and that's our connectedness. Albert Einstein said this. He said, "I think the most important question facing humanity is the universe a friendly place?" This is the first and most basic question all people must answer for themselves. Is the universe a friendly place? And I would take it one step further. I would say, is the source of the universe friendly for me, with me, in me? And once again, we're into that foundational realm of ultimate truth, spirituality, the transcendent, God. And what is my awareness of that connectedness? Is the universe a friendly place, Einstein asks. Right now, we are hurtling through space on a rock, going 67,000 miles per hour. The sunlight that is coming through this window right here on this beautiful winter day was created 8.5 minutes ago. 95% of the universe is invisible, which means we're only left with 5% that we can observe and measure. So I have to have a confide, a faith in what I can't see, and a hope that what I can't see is for me, and working out things just as they should be. So how do I tap into this hope? How do I tap into singular hope and not wishful thinking hopes? Well, I have to accept reality as it is and not as I want it to be. COVID is a reality. It's not as I want it to be. I have to accept it. Accept it, which means to agree to. It means to agree to. I agree to the fact that COVID is here. And then I have to surrender to it. I have to agree with it. Meaning, I have to say, you know what? This is a reality, and I have to work with it as it works with me. This is scary because, once again, this goes back to one of our big fears, which is losing control. But in order to tap into singular hope, I have to lose control. I have to lose the control I think I have in the life that I think I'm living. I'll say that again. I have to lose the control I think I have in the life I think I'm living. And when I do that, I step into a peace that is not dependent upon circumstances, situations, or events, or people. It's that deep, blessed assurance within. And it's a hope that knows that things are going to work out, even if they don't look like it. Hope is one of the 3 central virtues. You have faith and love alongside it. So we're connected to something much greater than what we can see, what we can feel, what we can think. And the source of the universe is with us and guiding us. We have tremendous hope. But that doesn't take away from the scary reality. And that's why we need hope, to rest on that and to celebrate that. A quote from Jean-Pierre Caussade: "What God arranges for us to experience at each moment is the best and holiest thing that could happen to us." Clear-eyed acceptance of the way things actually are, coupled with the ability to look at any situation, and regardless of how it may appear, God, the universe, life will be there and come through. But we will get through this. It may not look the way we want it to look, but we will get through that. And as people, when we tap into that, it's contagious. When I see you keep working, connecting, believing, reaching out, and moving forward, it inspires me. Because life never ends, but it changes. And when it changes, I want hope, and so do you. I'm going to read that welcoming prayer one last time to close it out. And we'll let those words just kind of wash over us again. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I welcome everything that comes to me today, because I know it's for my healing. I welcome all thoughts, feelings, emotions, persons, situations, and conditions. I let go of my desire for power and control. I let go of my desire for affection, esteem, approval, and pleasure. I let go of my desire for survival and security. I let go of my desire to change any situation, condition, person, or myself. I open to the love and presence of God and God's action within. I hope you get better. Thank you.